Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto time leaped to stop Kurama's attack on Konoha? If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. The world of Shinobi was born from the teachings of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of 6 paths, the man who brought peace to an age of endless chaos. His 2 sons, Indra and Asura, carried on his legacy, or so the world believed. But legends often hide truths too dangerous to remember. There was a 3rd son, a child born not of power or hatred, but of pure will. His existence was erased from history, his soul scattered across time. And centuries later, he was reborn as Naruto Uzumaki. The story began the same as always, an orphan boy, loud and stubborn, chasing the dream of becoming Hokage. But somewhere deep inside him, something ancient slept. A fragment of light that even Kurama's rage could not touch. It started the night of the Mizuki incident, when Naruto first learned the truth about the 9 tails sealed inside him. As he unleashed the beast's chakra for the first time, something else stirred. His vision blurred, the world fell silent. In that moment, Naruto stood not in the forest, but in a place made of endless stars. A voice called to him, deep, resonant, timeless. So, you've awakened again. Quote, Naruto turned, eyes wide. Floating before him was a man with silver hair and horns upon his brow, his robes marked with 6 Magatama and the Rinnegan glowing faintly. Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the boy whispered instinctively, though he didn't know why. The sage studied him carefully. You remember my name, even though your soul was not meant to awaken so soon. I don't understand, Naruto said, his voice shaking. Hagoromo extended a hand, and the stars around them began to shift, forming images, battles, worlds, and faces Naruto didn't recognize. Long before Indra and Asura fought, there was another, one I entrusted with the balance between them. You were that soul, Naruto Uzumaki. The 3rd son. The one born to bridge what could never be united. Quote, Naruto stared, his breath catching. You mean, I'm your reincarnation, Hagoromo said simply. Not of Asura, nor Indra. But of the one who carried both light and shadow, the one whose name was never spoken again. Quote, Naruto's hands trembled. Then, what happened to him? The sage's eyes dimmed. He chose silence. To prevent another war, he sealed himself away, scattering his essence through time. Until now, the stars flickered, the vision trembled. You are that essence reborn. The world forgot the 3rd son, but destiny did not. And then the light faded. Naruto gasped and fell back into the real world, Mizuki's body already unconscious before him. But the feeling didn't fade. Something inside him, something vast, had awakened. Days passed, but Naruto couldn't shake the voice. Every time he meditated or touched Kurama's chakra, he felt the same pull toward that star-filled void. Kurama noticed it too. Something's changed in you, brat. Naruto frowned. You mean besides me beating Mizuki to a pulp? Don't joke. That wasn't just my chakra you used. Something older came through you, something even I don't recognize. Quote, Naruto crossed his arms. What are you saying? Kurama's tone turned serious. That night, I felt another power inside your body. It wasn't human. It wasn't mine. It felt like the sage himself. Naruto blinked. The sage of 6 paths. That old guy's real. Kurama snorted. You're looking at one of the few who met him. But if you've got his chakra stirring inside you, then you're in deeper trouble than I thought. Quote, Months passed. Naruto's training continued under Kakashi, but his power grew differently from before. His chakra felt layered, golden and blue with faint white sparks that no one could explain. During one mission, when Team 7 was ambushed by rogue shinobi, Sasuke was trapped under a genjutsu barrier that not even Kakashi could dispel. Naruto, acting on instinct, placed his hand on the seal and whispered, break. Quote, the symbol dissolved instantly. The enemy screamed, their illusion shattered, and a strange ripple pulsed through the forest. Sakura and Kakashi looked stunned. Naruto, that wasn't chakra, Kakashi said quietly. That was something else. Sasuke stood, his eyes narrowed. What did you just do? Naruto scratched his head. I dunno, I just wanted it to stop. But deep inside him, Hagoromo's voice echoed once more. You are remembering your gift, the power to bend the laws between creation and perception. The balance between chakra and spirit. Naruto froze, gripping his head. Stop talking in riddles, old man. Quote, but the voice faded, leaving only silence. That night, as the team camped near the river, Sasuke couldn't sleep. He kept glancing at Naruto, who sat across the fire, the flames reflecting faintly off his golden-tinged eyes. Something about him felt different. Not just stronger, older. Hey, Dobe, Sasuke muttered. What's happening to you lately? Naruto blinked. First you break a genjutsu no one could touch. Then your chakra changes colors. You're not normal, not even by your usual idiot standards. Naruto chuckled, rubbing his nose. Guess I'm just awesome. But inside, he couldn't shake the feeling that Sasuke was right. He wasn't normal anymore. He wasn't just Naruto Uzumaki. He could feel whispers in the wind, traces of power in the moonlight, and memories that weren't his. Memories of standing beside two brothers who looked eerily familiar, one with cold, piercing eyes, the other with warmth and fire. And in the reflection of the river, for a fleeting second, he saw three figures behind him, the sage, Indra, and Asura, all watching. But only one reached forward. You were meant to unite what we divided, the sage's voice whispered. But the world will not accept another heir. Be ready, Naruto, for when they remember you, they will fear you. The next morning, Naruto woke before dawn. He felt it again, that immense, ancient chakra flowing through his veins, pulsing in rhythm with the rising sun. Kurama's voice came low and wary. You're changing faster than I expected. Your body wasn't built to hold divine energy. Naruto clenched his fists, watching the first light spill over the trees. Then I'll make it strong enough. Quote, Kurama growled. You're playing with powers that even the sage couldn't control. Naruto smirked, eyes glowing faintly gold. Maybe, but I'm not the sage. I'm me. He turned toward the light, his shadow stretching behind him, long and split into three. The forgotten heir of the Sage of Six Paths had awakened. And the world had no idea what was coming. The following weeks inside the hidden leaf passed with an uneasy calm. Naruto trained harder than ever, but each day brought new signs that something inside him was changing at a terrifying pace. When he ran, the air behind him shimmered. When he focused, the ground around him hummed as if reacting to an unseen force. And when he slept, visions overtook him. They were not dreams, they were memories. He saw a vast temple carved into a mountain of white stone. Torches burned with blue flames, casting shadows that moved like living beings. At the center stood a boy who looked nothing like Naruto but somehow felt exactly the same. The boy's eyes were neither Sharingan nor Rinnegan but a strange pale gold, swirling with calm and storm in equal measure. Behind him stood Hagoromo, older, heavier with sorrow, and at his sides were two children, one with fierce eyes and cold presence, the other warm and gentle. Indra, Asura, and the third child, unnamed, forgotten, stood alone, carrying a burden the world never recorded. Each time Naruto woke from these visions, his heart pounded with the same unshakable truth, those memories were his. One evening, after Team 7 completed a low-risk mission, Kakashi pulled Naruto aside. His tone wasn't casual this time. Something's different about you, Naruto. More than the 9 tails. More than chakra growth. This feels old. Naruto looked at the ground. I'm trying to figure it out too. I keep seeing things that don't belong to me. Like what? People I've never met. Places that feel familiar even though I'm sure I've never been there. And the sage, he keeps talking to me. Kakashi's single eye widened sharply, the relaxed facade cracking. You've spoken with the Sage of Six Paths himself. Naruto nodded. He said I'm a reincarnation of someone. Someone older than both his sons. The silence that followed was heavy. Kakashi studied Naruto's face carefully, as if searching for disbelief, exaggeration, anything that would make this easier to accept. But Naruto's eyes were serious. If that's true, Kakashi said slowly, then your existence might change everything. The balance of the world. The cycle of conflict. Even the power behind the tailed beasts. Quote, Naruto's voice barely rose above a whisper. I didn't choose this. I know, Kakashi replied. But whatever is happening to you won't stay hidden for long. Others will notice. And not everyone will react with curiosity. Quote, Naruto understood exactly what he meant. If the world learned that a newer era of the sage existed, a third reincarnation, it wouldn't bring celebration. It would bring fear. And fear always led to war. That night, Naruto sat on the Hokage monument, staring at the lights of the village below. He wanted to tell someone else. Maybe Iruka, maybe even Sasuke, but a strange instinct inside him warned against it, as if the truth itself carried danger. Kurama broke the silence. For once, there was no sarcasm, no anger, just raw honesty. You're becoming something that hasn't walked this world since the sage himself. Even I can feel it. Your body, your chakra, your soul, they're all synchronizing with a power beyond mortals. Naruto clenched his fists. Then tell me what to do. Kurama hesitated. Even the great beast seemed uncertain. Grow stronger, much stronger, before someone else decides they want that power for themselves. The wind shifted. Naruto looked up at the sky. A faint crack of light split the clouds, thin, jagged, unnatural. It flickered once like a tear in reality, then vanished. Naruto felt a cold shiver run down his spine. That was not weather. That was a warning. The next morning, the third Hokage summoned him privately. The moment Naruto entered the office, he sensed something was wrong. Hiruzen did not smile. He did not greet him warmly. He studied Naruto with eyes that had seen wars rise and crumble. I've received unusual reports about you, Hiruzen said. Naruto's throat tightened. About what? Your chakra, your abilities. And last night, an anomaly was detected above the village. Something that mimicked the signature of the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto swallowed hard. So you think it was me? Hiruzen folded his hands. Naruto, I don't want to believe this is dangerous. But I need the truth. Is there something inside you besides the 9 tails? Naruto opened his mouth to answer, only to feel a sudden pulse inside his chest. A surge of golden light flickered behind his eyes. At that exact moment, Hiruzen's pipe cracked in his hand from the pressure in the air. Naruto realized he couldn't hide it any longer. Hokage-sama, he said slowly, I think I'm starting to remember who I was before I was born. Quote, the old man froze, and before he could respond, the scrolls in his office rattled as a faint circle of golden symbols appeared under Naruto's feet, ancient markings long forgotten. Hiruzen stepped back in shock. Those seals, they belong to the sage's temple. How do you know them? I don't, Naruto whispered. My body just drew them. The symbols dimmed, but the truth was already out. The third sun was awakening. And the world had just felt his presence for the first time in 1,000 years. The night deepened over the ancient world, and Naruto's reincarnated soul began to stir more violently within his small body. Though still an infant to the eyes of the villagers, inside him slept the dormant legacy of the Sage of Six Paths, split across 3 children. As the third son, he carried a lineage that had never been recorded in any scroll, never spoken of in any prophecy, a power that had been intentionally erased from history itself. This hidden lineage did not belong to peace like Asura, nor to ambition like Indra. His essence was the missing balance, the unspoken third path Hagoromo had feared the world was not ready for. A path built on creation, reconstruction, and rewriting reality itself. And now, that entirely forgotten destiny pulsed faintly inside Naruto, like a distant star waiting to be born. Days turned into months, and his power grew with him. The world could not see it, but it could feel it. The animals around the village behaved strangely. The wind slowed whenever Naruto cried. Rain clouds parted when he laughed. Even plants in his path grew a little brighter, as though compelled to reflect a future tied to creation itself. But the villagers whispered among themselves. They believed this phenomenon was tied to the 9 tails sealed within him. They had no idea it was far older, far deeper, and far more dangerous. When Naruto reached the age of 4, something unprecedented happened. Late at night, while he wandered quietly through the outskirts of Konoha, drawn by a feeling he could not explain, the world around him suddenly shifted. Just one step forward, and everything turned gray and colorless. Trees froze. The wind halted mid-current. Even his own breath felt suspended in the air. The young boy looked around, unaware he had awakened the realm of the third sun, a separate spiritual dimension hidden behind the surface of reality. A voice echoed in this stillness. "So, you have finally stepped inside." Naruto spun around, and there he saw a towering, ancient figure. A man whose presence bent the very space around him. Hair like drifting smoke, eyes brighter than any celestial light. His robes bore markings from an era long lost, neither chakra-infused nor earthly in pattern. Naruto did not fear him. Instead, he felt drawn to him. "Who are you?" Naruto asked, his voice trembling but steady. "I am the shadow of a truth never told." The figure approached slowly. "I am the third sun. And you are my reincarnation." Naruto blinked, confused. "What's a third sun?" The man knelt so his eyes met Naruto's. The dimension around them pulsed faintly, showing constellations, memories, and fragments of ancient battles. The figure placed his hand on Naruto's chest. Hagoromo had two sons, but he also created a third, born not from ambition or peace, but from his fear of what the world would become. "I was created to reshape reality if it ever fell into ruin." His voice darkened slightly. "But my power was too great. Too unpredictable. It was sealed away and erased from records, waiting for an era that could handle it." Quote. Naruto stared at him, stunned. "So, I'm you. You are my beginning rewritten." The dimension responded to these words. Cracks of light shot through the gray world. Naruto felt a warmth spread from his heart to his fingertips. Suddenly the still realm began to move again, reacting to his energy. "You hold the power to reshape, rebuild, create, and alter," the figure said. "But if this power awakens too fast, the world will break trying to contain you." Quote. Naruto felt the realm collapse back into normal reality. The sounds of the night returned, leaves rustled, birds murmured, and the cold wind brushed his face. The ancient spirit faded like mist. "Grow stronger," the voice echoed faintly. "Understand yourself. When the time is right, return to me." After that night, Naruto's life diverged from anything the world had ever seen. As a child, he unconsciously altered small details of reality. Lost objects reappeared exactly where he wished. Broken toys fixed themselves. The air around him shimmered whenever he felt intense emotions. Even his pranks as a little troublemaker took on unnatural effects. The villagers, already distrustful, became more wary. Unnatural events around a Jinchuriki always breed fear. But Naruto remained unaware of his unique nature. All he felt was loneliness, an aching pull towards something he could not name. Years passed. At the academy, Naruto struggled with jutsu not because he lacked talent, but because his power worked differently. His chakra refused to mold in traditional shapes. His clones exploded into distorted illusions instead of splitting properly. His transformations fizzled into strange, shifting forms that frightened even Iruka. They were reflections of possibilities, not copies. One evening, after yet another failed practice session, Naruto sat alone by the riverbank, throwing stones into the water with frustration. The moon reflected off the surface, rippling with every stone. He breathed heavily, trying to understand why he felt so out of place. Then the water stilled, not because the wind stopped, but because his emotions reached into the world again. From the water's reflection, the third sun's eyes appeared faintly. "You are learning," the voice whispered from the depths. "And when you are ready, I will show you the truth behind your creation." Naruto stood frozen, heart pounding. This was only the beginning. His destiny as the unrecorded heir of the sage, the one meant to rewrite the world's fate, had only just taken its first breath. The world moved forward unaware that a force older than chakra itself had already chosen to awaken within a lonely blonde boy in Konoha. The villagers continued their daily lives, their market stalls bustling, the daily disputes echoing through the streets, their eyes always flicking with fear whenever Naruto passed by. They believed they feared the Nine Tails, but if they had known the truth of what else slumbered inside him, the fear would have been something far beyond human comprehension. Yet Naruto, young and untrained, walked among them in blissful ignorance, though a strange awareness had begun blooming in him. It was subtle at first, an intuition that he was connected to everything around him. When he approached trees, he sensed their age. When he sat in the academy classroom, he could feel the frustration of other students like a faint tug in his chest. He did not understand why these sensations existed, only that the world never felt entirely separate from him. Iruka noticed the changes as well. The boy he once thought was simply loud, energetic, and unfocused had started staring off into the distance as if listening to something others could not hear. During lessons, Naruto sometimes traced patterns in the air with his finger, patterns that Iruka could not recognize. The air would faintly shimmer afterward, as though responding. Whenever Naruto was asked what he was doing, he could never explain. It was instinctual, like breathing. One afternoon, after failing the clone jutsu once again, Naruto stormed out of the academy training yard. The other students had laughed. Even Mizuki, pretending to be supportive, smirked when Naruto looked away. But Iruka, who knew Naruto better than anyone, sensed something deeper behind the boy's frustration. Naruto walked out beyond the training grounds, toward a quiet path near the edge of the forest, where the shadows of old trees fell across the ground in long patterns. The wind was mild, but Naruto felt a sensation on the edge of his mind, like a whisper tugging at him. Not words, just a beckoning. The same presence he had felt months ago at the river, the one that called itself the third sun. Naruto stopped walking and stood still, as if rooted to the ground. The trees around him gradually stopped swaying, even though the breeze continued to flow everywhere else. Leaves suspended in the air before they could touch the ground. The world dimmed slightly, a faint distortion spreading outward from where he stood. Naruto blinked, and the world transformed. Colors drained from the surroundings, shifting into a monochrome landscape. Even the temperature changed, becoming neither warm nor cold. It simply existed without sensation. He heard nothing, not the rustle of leaves, not the sound of distant voices, not even his own heartbeat. It was the same place he had found once before, his mind's bridge into the spiritual realm of the third sun. He stood there in silence until a faint silhouette appeared before him. It took shape slowly, as though materializing from the air. The third sun's spiritual form looked older this time, more defined, with sharper eyes that reflected galaxies of knowledge. His presence rippled across the dimension like a pulse. "You returned sooner than I expected," the third sun's voice echoed, not into Naruto's ears but directly into his mind. "Your instincts are awakening faster than anticipated." Naruto frowned. "I don't understand what's happening to me. Everything feels strange. Things move when I don't touch them. People's feelings pull at me. Even the air listens." "That is because the world recognizes you," the third sun replied. "You are not merely within reality. A part of reality flows through you." Naruto shook his head, confused. "But I'm just me. I'm Naruto. I'm not special." The third sun looked at him with a faint expression that resembled a distant sorrow. "You are special because you must be. Hagoromo did not create us as mere sons. We were meant to represent paths. Indra, built from ambition. Asura, born from hope. And then there was me, created from necessity. A safeguard, a balancing force to rewrite the shape of things that broke beyond repair." Naruto stared at him, lower lip trembling. "Why did they erase you?" "Because power that can remake the world is power that must never fall into the wrong hands. Even Asura and Indra feared what I was. Their reincarnations fought each other for millennia. And if my power had been visible to them, they would have fought for my inheritance instead." Naruto swallowed hard, his mind spinning. "And now that's inside me. It has chosen you. It is shaped by your heart, your loneliness, your desire to be acknowledged. These emotions are not weaknesses, they are the foundation upon which your power grows. For you were not reborn to destroy the world, Naruto. You were reborn to rebuild it." Naruto looked down at his hands, flexing them slowly. "Does this mean I can finally become someone the village respects?" The third son approached him, kneeling to meet his eyes with an intensity that burned like starlight. "You will become far more than that. The question is whether your heart will remain strong enough to guide this power, or whether the world's hatred will twist you as it once twisted me." Naruto's eyes widened. "You were twisted." The third son paused, gaze distant. "I was born to heal, but the world's wars forced me to destroy. I remade nations when they fell, erased calamities, turned deserts into lands of dawn. But every use took something from me. Every act of creation required a destruction of equal measure. I lost myself, piece by piece, until my existence threatened the balance Hagoromo had sworn to protect. Naruto's voice cracked. Did you hurt people? I tried to save them. But power too great becomes a cage. In time, I could no longer tell if I was shaping fate or forcing it. Naruto felt his chest tighten. Will that happen to me? That depends on your choices, the figure said softly. And the people who will stand beside you. Quote, the realm trembled suddenly, as if reacting to emotions Naruto did not fully understand. The third son stood again, lifting a hand to steady the world around them. His expression darkened. You are stronger now, strong enough to begin your awakening. But beware, Naruto, the world will feel the shift. Your actions will disrupt destinies written long before you were born. Naruto took a step back. What shift? The third son raised his hand and placed it over Naruto's forehead. The moment his skin made contact, blinding light engulfed the dimension. Naruto felt knowledge pour into him, not words, not instructions, but instinct. A deeper understanding of energy, of creation, of reshaping matter at its most fundamental level. When he opened his eyes, he was back in the real world. The leaves began falling again. The wind returned. The sun pierced through the clouds once more. But something had changed. The air around Naruto shimmered faintly, as if acknowledging him. He walked back toward the village unaware of the invisible waves radiating from him, traveling across forests and mountains, reaching distant places where sages and beasts stirred uneasily. Even Kurama, inside the seal, lifted his head. For the first time in his immortal existence, he sensed something unfamiliar overshadowing his own power. Something that did not belong to any tailed beast. This feeling, Kurama growled. What are you becoming, boy? Naruto felt none of it. He simply returned to the academy the next day, tired but determined to prove himself. But as the day progressed, more signs appeared that he was no longer an ordinary student. During shuriken practice, every blade he threw curved mid-air toward the target as if following his will. Other students whispered in confusion. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Even Iruka stood rigid for a moment before brushing it off as coincidence. During chakra molding exercises, Naruto shaped energy in ways no one had seen before. His chakra did not flow normally. It warped the air around his palms, bending light. The other students stood back, some in awe, others in fear. At lunch, when Naruto sat alone as usual, a breeze passed through the courtyard, scattering leaves around him. Yet none landed near him. It was as if the world itself refused to touch him without permission. Iruka approached him with a simple question. Naruto, has something been bothering you recently? Naruto paused with his chopsticks halfway to his mouth. I think something's waking up inside me. Something that's been waiting for a long time. But I don't know what it wants. Iruka placed a hand on Naruto's head gently. Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone. Naruto smiled faintly, touched by the sincerity. But deep inside, he knew that this awakening was something far beyond Iruka, the academy, or even Konoha itself. That night, Naruto woke abruptly from sleep. His room felt different. The shadows on the walls shifted as if alive. He sat up, heart pounding. Without fully understanding why, he raised his hand. The shadows recoiled instantly, avoiding his touch like living creatures. The air vibrated. The floor beneath him pulsed faintly, reacting to his intent. He whispered to himself, what am I becoming? A soft glow radiated from his chest, faint but unmistakable. Lines of light crawled outward beneath his skin, forming ancient patterns he had never seen before. They looked like a language older than chakra. Naruto felt something inside him unlock. At that exact moment, across the village, a group of Anbu sensed a sudden, inexplicable fluctuation of space and energy. They bolted toward its location, unsure of what they were sensing. Something was bending reality for brief moments, then stopping, then bending again. It felt like ripples in a pond, expanding outward. Inside his small apartment, Naruto stood motionless, breathing heavily as light washed over him. The floorboards beneath him began to mend old cracks. The stale air refreshed itself. Even the distant sound of night insects shifted in tone as though reacting to his heartbeat. Kurama snarled inside the seal. That power is not yours. It does not belong in this world. Naruto pressed a hand to his stomach, feeling Kurama's agitation. I don't want to hurt anyone. Kurama's voice rumbled like thunder. Then learn to control it before it controls you. That power is from the sage's era. Older than me. Older than the very concept of chakra. And if you cannot contain it, boy, everything around you will shatter. Quote, Naruto staggered backward, gripping the wall. I don't understand. I didn't ask for this. Kurama narrowed his eyes. Your existence already defies fate. You carry a power meant to rewrite the world. Even I fear what you might become. Naruto sank to the floor, overwhelmed. The glowing patterns on his skin gradually faded, returning to normal. The room dimmed. Reality stabilized. But it was too late. Outside, every ANBU in the village had stopped at once, frozen in alarm. For a brief instant, the entire environment shifted. The air compressed. Buildings seemed to distort ever so slightly, returning to normal before anyone could comprehend what they had witnessed. One Anbu masked operative whispered, "What was that?" It felt like the world blinked. Another answered, it came from the direction of Naruto Uzumaki's apartment. Report to the Hokage immediately. Naruto, exhausted from the spiritual awakening, collapsed onto his bed. Sleep took him quickly, but even in slumber, the third son's ancient memories flickered inside his mind, visions of a world reshaped, civilizations rising and collapsing, oceans parting, mountains forming, the sky rewritten. He dreamed of a throne of starlight. He dreamed of destruction he did not intend. He dreamed of creation he could not control. When he awoke, the sun had not yet risen, but he knew one thing with absolute clarity. The world was about to change because of him. And no path written in history could contain what he was becoming. Naruto woke long before dawn, his heart pounding with a rhythm he could not calm. His room felt different again, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. A faint vibration pulsed beneath his feet, not from the building but from somewhere deeper, somewhere beneath reality itself. He stepped outside, hoping fresh air would steady him, but the moment he opened the door, he sensed it. The world felt too close, too connected, as if every object, every grain of dust in the air, every distant chakra signature responded subtly to his awareness. It was overwhelming, and yet it felt strangely natural. The sky was still dark, a deep blue nearing the first hints of morning. The village was quiet, lanterns flickering softly. Naruto walked through the empty streets, drawn by an unexplainable instinct. He moved without thinking, without purpose, guided only by a pull deep inside his soul. As he walked, small distortions rippled around him. A stone on the path rolled slightly to the side on its own. The air shimmered faintly behind him as if time itself bent momentarily. Every step he took resonated through the environment like a whisper. In the distance, unseen by him, Anbu operatives watched from rooftops. "There it is again," one murmured. "This pressure, it doesn't feel like a tailed beast. It's more ancient, more raw. Hokage Sama needs to see this." Quote, Naruto remained unaware. He reached the old training grounds behind the academy, a place usually abandoned at this hour. He stood in the middle of the field, breathing unevenly. He felt something rising inside him, not chakra, not emotion, something older, deeper, a presence pushing through the boundary between his spirit and the world. Then the air froze. Naruto felt it instantly. Every sound vanished. Every movement stopped. The wind halted mid-gust. A leaf drifting downward hung suspended above the ground. The entire world dimmed into a muted haze. He was back in the realm of the third sun. A pathway of shimmering light appeared before him, stretching endlessly into the horizon of the gray-white void. The third sun materialized at the end of it, his form clearer and more stable than before. His eyes held a seriousness that was deeper than anything Naruto had seen. "You have awakened the first layer," the third sun said. "But your power is overflowing faster than expected. If left unchecked, it will leak into the waking world and reshape it without intent." Quote, Naruto stepped forward, voice trembling. Why is this happening so fast? I'm not doing anything. You are the reincarnation of a being who once altered the nature of existence with a single thought, the third son replied calmly. Even your emotions carry weight. Your loneliness speaks to the world. Your determination pushes against the fabric of reality. Your anger can fracture space. Naruto swallowed hard. I don't want to hurt anyone. Quote, that desire is what keeps you from becoming what I once became, the third son said. But desire alone will not stop the power from growing. You must train, not your body, not your chakra, your sense of self, your awareness. Naruto frowned. Train, my awareness, yes, you must understand where you end, and where the world begins. Naruto stared at him, confused and overwhelmed. The third son extended his hand, and the world shifted. The empty dimension changed into a field filled with countless objects, stones, feathers, pieces of wood, fragments of metal, all floating gently in midair. Each object glowed with a faint outline of color. This, the third son explained, is the boundary between perception and influence. You are connected to all things here. But you must learn to choose what you touch. He pointed to the floating stones. Try to move just one. Naruto reached out with his hand, focusing on a single stone. He tried to imagine it shifting downward. Instead, every stone in the field trembled at once. A ripple spread through the dimension, shaking the light itself. Naruto panicked and lowered his arm. I didn't mean to do that, he said shakily. That is the problem, the third son replied. Your intent is broad. Your emotions echo too loudly. You must narrow your will. Quote, Naruto tried again. He focused on the smallest stone, forcing himself to ignore everything else. The dimension reacted. A faint tremor passed through the void, and then, slowly, the stone drifted an inch to the side. Naruto gasped. I did it. The third son nodded. Good. But now stop it. Naruto tried to will the stone back into place, but instead the entire field shifted again. The feathers shot upward. The wood fragments rotated. The metal pieces sparked with brief threads of light. Naruto held his breath, terrified of causing a collapse. The third son raised his hand, stabilizing the realm instantly. You see, he said, you do not yet know how to distinguish between your own energy and the world's. Until you learn that, your power will leak into reality every time you act. Every time you feel strongly. Every time you dream. Naruto looked down, fists clenched. But how do I learn that kind of control? Quote, by understanding yourself, the third son answered. The world shaped you through pain and loneliness. Now you must shape yourself through clarity. The dimension dissolved, returning to the gray void. The third son lowered his voice. Be cautious, Naruto. There are those in the waking world who will sense your awakening. Not only the Hokage, not only the tailed beasts. There are forces older than nations who have waited for power like yours to resurface. Quote, Naruto felt a chill run through him. Forces. Who? You will meet them soon enough. The void rippled. A sudden vibration spread across the dimension. The third son's expression sharpened. You must go. Someone is approaching you in the real world. Naruto blinked, and the realm shattered like glass. He found himself back in the training grounds. The world resumed instantly, wind, sounds, movement, light. The leaf that had paused earlier finally touched the ground. Before Naruto could even catch his breath, a shadow flickered before him. The third Hokage stood there. Hiruzen's expression was calm, but Naruto, in his newly awakened sensitivity, sensed the storm hidden beneath that calm. The Hokage was not merely suspicious, he was alarmed. Naruto, Hiruzen said in a steady voice, the Anbu detected unusual fluctuations in this area. I came to check on you personally. Are you hurt? Naruto shook his head quickly. No, I'm fine. I was just thinking. Hiruzen studied him carefully. The old man's eyes, trained to read truth from the subtlest signs, saw something different about Naruto that morning. Something in the boy's aura, something in the air around him, had changed. Your chakra feels different today, Hiruzen said quietly. It is unrefined, vast, like it's trying to find shape. Naruto froze. He didn't know what to say. He wasn't even sure how to explain what was happening to him. Hiruzen placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, a gesture of warmth, but also of silent analysis. Whatever you're going through, Naruto, you don't have to hide it. You can always come to me. I promised your parents I would watch over you. Naruto swallowed hard, guilt and confusion twisting inside him. I'll try, he said. Hiruzen nodded, though Naruto sensed that the Hokage did not believe him entirely. The Anbu watching from the shadows were already uncomfortable. They whispered among themselves. That pressure, it's stronger now. It's like the air bends around him. If this continues, the village might be in danger. Quote, Naruto did not hear those whispers. He walked back toward the village beside the Hokage, trying to appear normal. But every step he took seemed to resonate unnaturally, as if the world recognized him now. By the time they reached the Hokage Tower, something else became clear. The power within Naruto was not only awakening, it was accelerating, and the world around him was beginning to react. By the time Naruto returned to the village center alongside the Hokage, he already felt the change spreading. NG threw him again. It started subtly, like a tingling under his skin, then grew into a pulsing awareness that extended outward in all directions. Every sound seemed sharper, every chakra signature more distinct. He could sense not just the presence of people but the shape of their emotions, like ripples moving through the air. Naruto tried to hide it, walking stiffly beside Hiruzen, answering the old man's questions with short nods. But every few steps, the world around him shifted ever so slightly. The corner of a building bent for a fraction of a second, returning to normal before anyone noticed. A stray cat paused mid-step, staring at Naruto with fur bristled. Even the breeze felt unnaturally coordinated, blowing around him rather than through him. Hiruzen noticed enough to narrow his eyes. When they reached the Hokage's office, he dismissed the Anbu and closed the door. The silence that followed was heavy. Naruto stood in the center of the room, feeling strangely exposed. Sit, Naruto, Hiruzen said. Naruto obeyed, trying to stay calm. The Hokage moved to his desk slowly, his brows drawn together. He looked exhausted, not physically but mentally. There was weight in his gaze, a worry deep enough that Naruto felt it pressing against his senses. I must ask you something important, Hiruzen said. And I need you to answer honestly. Have you felt anything unusual recently? Any strange sensations or changes in your chakra? Naruto hesitated, fingers digging into his knees. He wanted to tell the truth. But the fear of being seen as dangerous, of being rejected again, tightened his throat. I don't know, he whispered. Maybe, things just feel strange. Hiruzen leaned closer. Strange how? Naruto opened his mouth, but the moment he tried to explain, the world shifted again. The edges of the room blurred, then refocused. The ink in a small pot on the Hokage's desk rippled upward for a second, defying gravity, then settled. Naruto flinched. Hiruzen's eyes snapped to it. That, the Hokage said slowly, was not normal chakra behavior. Quote, Naruto's breath quickened. I didn't do anything. I know, Hiruzen said quietly. And that is why it concerns me. Before Naruto could respond, Anbu chakra signatures converged outside the tower. Multiple units, tense and prepared. Naruto felt their intent, a mixture of fear and readiness, pressing against the building like a storm. Hiruzen stood quickly, hands clasped behind his back as he walked to the window. They sense it too, he murmured. Not Kurama's chakra, not malicious energy, something older. Naruto felt panic rising. Am I in trouble? Hiruzen turned toward him, his expression softening. No, he said firmly. But I must understand what is happening to you, for your sake and for the villages. Naruto lowered his head, unable to meet the Hokage's gaze. I don't understand it myself, he whispered. Hiruzen moved closer, resting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Then we will understand it together. Before the conversation could continue, something unexpected occurred. A wave of pressure tore through the room, a sensation unlike anything Naruto had felt before. It was not chakra. It was not intent. It was reality itself bending. The books on the Hokage's shelves rattled. Scrolls unrolled slightly. Even the Anbu outside stumbled as the ground trembled. Naruto gasped. The pressure was coming from inside him. The third son's voice echoed faintly in his mind. You are approaching the threshold. If you cross it without guidance, your power will respond instinctively. It may protect you, or it may destroy what threatens you. Even if nothing is threatening you. Naruto clutched his chest, teeth gritted. Old man, he rasped. Something's wrong. It's spreading again. Hiruzen's eyes widened as a circle of shimmering distortion formed beneath Naruto's feet, spreading outward like a pulse. The air thickened. Light refracted unnaturally. The temperature dropped. Breathe, Naruto, Hiruzen ordered, voice steady. Focus on yourself, not the world, yourself. Naruto tried, but it felt as if the environment was anchored to his heartbeat. Every breath he took pulled at reality. Every thought warped the space around him. He squeezed his eyes shut, forcing the world out of his mind, focusing only on the feel of his own body. The distortion slowed but did not stop. Hiruzen took a step forward, reaching for Naruto, but the moment his hand entered the ring of distortion, his fingers wavered visually, split into multiple images, as if reality could not decide which shape to give them. He pulled back immediately. Naruto opened his eyes, terrified. I can't control it. Hiruzen exhaled slowly. Then we will find someone who can help you learn. Naruto's chest heaved. Who? Hiruzen nodded as if confirming a decision he had made long ago. There is only one person alive who understands powers older than chakra and older than the tailed beast. Before Naruto could ask who, a new voice filled the room, calm and ancient. That would be me. Quote, both Naruto and Hiruzen spun around. Standing in the corner was a figure neither of them had seen enter. A tall man in sage robes. Long hair falling across his back. Eyes ringed with 6 tomo swirling within rippling concentric circles. Naruto's breath caught. Hiruzen froze. Because the man standing in front of them was not alive, nor a ghost, nor an illusion. It was a spiritual projection. Hagoromo Otsutsuki himself, the sage of 6 paths. His presence filled the room without weight, without chakra, but with a pressure older than the concept of energy. Reality steadied around him as if the world itself adjusted to his existence. Naruto stared, unable to speak. Hiruzen bowed his head slightly, not in reverence but in acknowledgement of overwhelming authority. The sage looked at Naruto with an expression that held sorrow, concern, and recognition all at once. So, Hagoromo said quietly, my brother's reincarnation has finally awakened. Quote, Naruto's heart stopped. Your brother, Hagoromo nodded. You carry the spirit of the one we erased from history. The third son. A being too powerful to be known. Too dangerous to be remembered. Naruto shook his head, voice breaking. I don't want to hurt anyone. Hagoromo's gaze softened. That is why you were chosen. Not for power, for heart. He stepped closer, examining Naruto carefully. But your awakening is happening far too quickly. The world feels your presence, Naruto. Forces older than nations will come searching for you. Some to help, many to claim you. Naruto's pulse raced. What do I do? Hagoromo closed his eyes. You must learn to control the power of creation before it consumes you. He opened his eyes again, and the room filled with a faint glow. And to do that, you must first confront the full memory of the third son, his past, his fall, and the truth behind. Why he was wiped from existence. Naruto felt the world tilt. His breath caught. The room faded. Hagoromo raised a hand. Prepare yourself. What comes next will change everything you believe about the sage, the tailed beasts, chakra, and the past. Quote, a soft light enveloped Naruto, and the world around him dissolved. He was falling into a memory older than time. The moment Naruto's consciousness slipped into that blinding white realm again, the world he saw was no longer the trembling battlefield of the present. Instead, it was the memory of an ancient sky, 2 moons, one cracked and one whole, staring down like twin witnesses to a forgotten war. Naruto didn't understand why he was seeing this, but something inside him whispered that this vision belonged not to Hagoromo or Ashura, but to himself. A life older than this body. A past buried so deeply even the sage of 6 paths hadn't sensed it until now. The cracked moon bled shimmering particles into the air, drifting like dying fireflies. Below it, 2 giant silhouettes clashed, one wielding spiraling creation energy, the other swinging a blade of collapsing darkness. Their roars shook the heavens. Armies of chakra-born spirits rose and fell like waves in a storm. Naruto didn't yet know it, but he was watching the final war between the sage's two sons, Indra and Ashura, and their mysterious forgotten brother, the third son. The one whose soul now lived inside him. And then the vision shifted abruptly. He now saw a child standing between Indra and Ashura as they raged, a lone figure with hair like silver fire and eyes that glowed with an unstable whirlpool of yin, yang, and something more divine than either. A power that did not create or destroy, but rewrote the rules of chakra itself. The child raised a hand. The world shattered. Naruto stumbled back as the memory vaporized, replaced by the quiet desert plain where he'd been training moments earlier. Hagoromo's apparition stood before him, looking more troubled than Naruto had ever seen him. "You saw it, didn't you?" the sage asked quietly. Naruto wiped sweat from his forehead. "That, kid, those moons, what was that?" "The truth you were never meant to awaken," Hagoromo said. "That was your past life, the Sage of Six Paths' third son. A child whose power exceeded even mine. A soul reborn countless times, sealed, hidden, forgotten," he sighed. "Until now." Naruto blinked hard. "Wait, you had two sons, Indra and Ashura. You told me that." "I told you what the world could bear," Hagoromo replied. "What the world could survive knowing." Naruto felt a strange chill crawl across his skin, as if destiny itself were leaning over to whisper in his ear. "So what happened to him?" "To me." Hagoromo's voice dropped lower than the wind. "You ended the war between your brothers by unleashing power neither creation nor destruction could withstand. You erased chakra from the world for centuries. You died sealing yourself away." Naruto's breath hitched. "And now that power awakens again inside your current body," Hagoromo continued. "It is reshaping your chakra, your instincts, your destiny." Quote, Naruto stepped backward unconsciously. He felt something warm and violent pulse inside his ribcage, an ancient rhythm that didn't belong to the Nine Tails or his own life. A heartbeat older than nations. "Why me?" Naruto asked softly. "Because your soul chose reincarnation," Hagoromo said. "Because the world once again approaches a moment where only your forgotten power can prevent collapse." Naruto swallowed hard. "So, what happens now? Do I become some monster? Some weapon?" Hagoromo's eyes tightened. "That depends on you." Naruto clenched his fists. He didn't want more destiny. He didn't want more reincarnation or ancient prophecies. All he ever wanted was to protect the people he loved. The sage raised his staff. "I must show you the truth of your power, Naruto. Prepare yourself." Light enveloped them, and Naruto found himself transported to a different realm altogether. A dark circular void, the same one Hagoromo once used to resurrect him and Sasuke. But now it pulsed with three globes of chakra, gold, purple, and white, circling Naruto like planets around a star. Hagoromo pointed. "Those are fragments of the third son's power. Your power." Naruto reached out instinctively. The first sphere exploded into golden mist. The second flared with purple lightning. The third cracked open like an egg of light, releasing tendrils of energy that crawled toward Naruto's skin. And suddenly, he felt everything, every life form, every chakra signature in the world, every flicker of conflict, every whisper of fear, every hope glowing faintly in tiny human hearts. He felt the world itself breathe. And the world was in pain. Naruto staggered, clutching his chest. "Too much, this, I can't." "You can," Hagoromo said firmly. "Because you already once did." Naruto screamed as the third son's power merged with him, his chakra networks reshaping, rewriting themselves. The force was neither destructive like Indra nor nurturing like Ashura. It was something terrifyingly balanced, something that broke rules instead of obeying them. When the surge finally ended, Naruto was left on his knees, panting hard, his hands trembling. Hagoromo looked at him with a mixture of awe and fear. "You have awakened the primordial chakra, the ability to rewrite fate itself." Naruto's voice shook. "I don't want fate. I don't want to rewrite anything." Quote, "And yet," Hagoromo said sadly, "the world will come seeking you. Allies, and enemies." Naruto's eyes widened, not from Hagoromo's words, but from a sudden sensation that tore through his mind like lightning. Someone powerful had sensed his awakening. Someone ancient. Someone dangerous. A massive presence whispered from the far edges of the world. So, the forgotten soul has awakened. Naruto shivered. Who was that? Quote, Hagoromo's expression darkened. Your oldest enemy. The one even I could not defeat. The one your past life sealed at the cost of his existence. Naruto's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Your awakening has freed his consciousness. Quote, the air trembled as Hagoromo spoke the name. The devourer of chakra. The first beast. The entity even older than the 10 tails. Naruto's breath froze. Your reincarnation was the world's last seal, Naruto. And now the seal is breaking. Naruto felt the void rumble as Hagoromo's final words faded. A pressure, ancient and suffocating, crept through the cracks of reality itself. The devourer of chakra, an entity even older than the 10 tails, one that his past self had sealed away at the cost of his own life. Naruto inhaled slowly, trying to steady his nerves, but the air itself felt thick, like the world knew something catastrophic had reawakened. What does it want? Naruto asked, voice low. Hagoromo looked toward the dark horizon of the dimension, as if sensing a distant storm. It wants exactly what it always sought. To consume, to absorb, to return chakra to nothingness. Naruto tightened his fists. So it's like the 10 tails. No, Hagoromo replied. The 10 tails was born from Kaguya's corruption. This being came long before chakra even existed. It is the reason chakra needed to be bestowed onto humanity in the first place. Your power, your past existence, was the world's first and last defense against it. Naruto didn't want to believe it. He didn't want to think that some cosmic monster was tied to him personally. But deep inside, the ancient pulse in his chest throbbed again, like a warning. Like memory. Show me, Naruto said. Show me exactly what I'm up against. Hagoromo hesitated, but then tapped his staff on the void's floor. The dimension quaked, and a region of space tore open, revealing a shifting vision of the ancient world long before villages, long before shinobi. A barren land. No humans. No animals. Only drifting chakra-less winds and black oceans made of pure emptiness. A shadow rose from those oceans. Shapeless, massive, like a living wound in reality. Its presence made the vision flicker, as if even memory struggled to contain it. The creature did not roar, did not breathe, did not speak. Its existence alone devoured everything around it, matter, energy, even light. Wherever it drifted, the world dimmed. Naruto stepped closer. That thing. What stops it? How does it even move? How did he, fight it? Hagoromo replied quietly. You did not fight with fists. You fought with law, with primordial chakra that rewrites existence. The power you wielded was able to impose rules upon the world. Your past self sealed the devourer by forcing a single law onto reality, that it would no longer be allowed to exist. Naruto blinked, stunned. That's possible. You have the seed of that ability within you again, Hagoromo said. But it is unstable, incomplete, and awakening it fully may cost you your life, just as before. Naruto exhaled slowly. The weight of destiny pressed down again, heavier this time, sharper, more absolute. But something inside him resisted. He wasn't that ancient child anymore. He wasn't Ashura. He wasn't a reincarnation bound by the past. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he muttered. And I'll decide what I do with my power. Quote, Hagoromo nodded, but worry lingered in his eyes. Suddenly, Naruto felt a tug, strong, pulling him out of the dimension. The real world was calling him back, and it wasn't peaceful. Faintly, he sensed panic, shouting, chakra flaring. What's happening? He demanded. Hagoromo's face darkened. Your awakening has destabilized the balance of the world. Chakra everywhere is reacting to you. Creatures, humans, sages, beasts, they can feel you. Quote, Naruto stiffened as the tug grew stronger. Go, Hagoromo said. Return. The world needs you again. The dimension shattered around Naruto, sending him spiraling into darkness. He opened his eyes to chaos. He was back in the training plane outside Konoha, but the air was thick with turbulent chakra spiraling like small tornadoes. Birds fled in every direction, animals scattered, leaves tore from trees. Two Anbu shinobi lay unconscious nearby, overwhelmed by the sudden surge. Naruto gasped and tried to stand, but his legs felt weak, too much power rushed through them. He felt everything, the flow of energy in the soil, the tension in the air, the emotions of people miles away. But one presence hit him harder than the rest, Sakura's. She was running toward him from the village, her chakra flickering with fear and urgency. Naruto felt it before he saw her. Her heartbeat, her breath, her determination. Naruto tried to shout for her to stay back, but the force inside him surged violently again, sending a pulse outward that split the ground beneath him like cracking ice. Sakura skidded to a stop, shocked. Naruto, what's happening to you? Your chakra, everyone in the village felt it. He clenched his teeth. I don't know how to control it yet. Stay back, Sakura, just until. But her eyes hardened. No, I'm not leaving you. Naruto's heart twisted. Even now, even when the world itself trembled around him, she still ran to his side. She stepped closer, fighting the pressure blasting from him. You're shaking. You never shake. Tell me what's wrong. Naruto swallowed. Sakura, I remembered something. Something from before this life. I'm not just Ashura's reincarnation. I'm someone else too. Someone Hagoromo never told anyone about. Quote, Sakura's expression shifted from confusion to controlled worry. What does that mean? Is someone controlling you? No, Naruto replied, but someone ancient is waking up. Something I once sealed. Sakura's breath hitched, but her gaze didn't waver. Then we'll stop it. Together. Naruto almost smiled, but another violent pulse ripped through him, forcing him to brace himself. This time the pulse carried something else, a whisper. A voice. It slid into his mind with cold indifference. So this is your new form, reincarnated one. Naruto froze. He didn't recognize the voice, but his soul did. Every nerve in his body screamed danger. Who are you? Naruto growled. The voice responded with a calm, empty hunger. I am the one your past self feared. The one you denied existence itself. But your awakening loosens the seal. You have opened the door. Quote, Naruto grit his teeth, sweat dripping down his face. Stay out of my head. As you wish, the entity whispered. But the world will soon feel me. And when I rise, your power will either save humanity, or end it. Quote, the presence vanished, leaving Naruto gasping. Sakura ran forward and grabbed his arm. Naruto, what happened? You looked terrified. He looked at her quietly, struggling to breathe. The devourer just spoke to me. Quote, her eyes widened. It's awake. Not fully, Naruto said. But it's watching, waiting. Sakura steadied him. Then we need help. You need allies. Everyone needs to know. Naruto shook his head. No, not yet. If the world finds out I'm the reincarnation of the sage's forgotten son, they won't see me as a person anymore. Sakura didn't disagree. She knew the world too well. So what do we do? Naruto stared at the sky, dark clouds beginning to spiral unnaturally. I need to find out how to control this power before it destroys everything, before the devourer breaks free. Sakura nodded. Then I'm coming with you. Naruto's chest tightened. You'll be in danger. Quote, I've always been in danger with you, she replied softly. But you've never faced anything alone. And you won't start now. Naruto opened his mouth to argue. But the ground shook violently beneath them. Not from his chakra. Not from the entity. From something else entirely. A massive flare of chakra erupted from beyond the fire country border, dark, wild, unnatural. Naruto felt it instantly. Someone powerful had awakened. Someone who sensed his reincarnation and responded in kind. Hagoromo's voice echoed faintly in Naruto's mind. That presence, it cannot be. Sakura steadied herself. What is that? Naruto's heart pounded. That felt like Indra. But Indra's chakra shouldn't exist anymore. Another pulse hit. And that one, Ashura. Sakura's eyes widened. You mean? Naruto whispered, trembling. They're coming back. Quote, the air grew heavy, so heavy that Sakura instinctively stepped closer to Naruto, as though proximity could anchor her to something solid. The two surges of chakra that had struck the world weren't random. They weren't accidents. They weren't even natural. They were signatures, ancient ones. Naruto felt the first pulse resonate in his bones like a distant thunderclap. It was sharp, cold, and domineering, an energy that scraped against the world as if it were too pure for mortal existence. It carried authority, rage, and the weight of a lineage obsessed with power. Naruto whispered without meaning to. Indra. The second pulse came softer, but deeper, like the rumble of earth, warm and overflowing with stubborn hope, compassion, and raw instinct. It felt like the world welcoming something familiar. Ashura, Naruto murmured. Sakura froze. Naruto, you're telling me the sage's sons, the ones who started the entire cycle of reincarnation, they're coming back. Quote. Naruto didn't answer immediately. He looked toward the distant horizon, toward the direction the pulses came from. Trees shook far away, flocks of birds scattered skyward, and even the chakra in the ground twisted as if responding to the ancient call. No, Naruto finally said. Not coming back. They've been awakened. Sakura swallowed hard. By who? Naruto closed his eyes. By me. The world went quiet for a moment. Silent. Expectant. Sakura steadied her breath. You think your awakening triggered theirs? I don't think, Naruto replied. I know. My chakra is tied to both of theirs. When I awakened, the seal on 'em must have loosened. But there was more. Inside him, the ancient heartbeat, the third son's pulse, throbbed violently, reacting to the resurgence of the other brothers as though remembering a rivalry older than history itself. Naruto felt the truth settle heavily inside him. As the third son, I wasn't just stronger than them. I was meant to keep balance between their extremes. Sakura's voice softened. Between Indra's obsession with power, and Ashura's devotion to peace. Quote. Yeah, Naruto said. I was the bridge, but I died sealing the devourer, leaving them to fight alone. That's why the cycle continued. Why all this suffering kept repeating for generations. Sakura stared at him with a dawning realization. So you weren't just an extra brother. You were the missing piece. The one who was supposed to keep the world stable. Naruto didn't answer, but the look in his eyes made the truth clear. The world had been incomplete without him. And now that he'd awakened, the world had begun to correct itself. Naruto stepped forward, feeling the ground pulse beneath him. Sakura followed at his side. What do we do? She asked. We track them, Naruto said. Indra, Ashura, they're not reincarnations right now. These pulses felt too pure. Too deliberate. They're either manifesting as living forms, or as chakra fragments strong enough to affect the world on their own. Quote. Sakura thought fast. If they've awakened, will they know who you are? Naruto shook his head slowly. That's the problem. If they awaken with memory, they remember me as their younger brother. They remember the wars. They remember the final battle. And they might not trust me. Sakura stepped in front of him. Tell me the truth. How did it end between the three of you? Naruto's throat tightened. In the last war, both of them refused to stand down. They both believed they were right. I tried to stop them, but Indra challenged me directly. Ashura joined trying to protect me. It became a three-way battle. Everything fell apart. Everything. Sakura listened silently. I sealed the devourer, Naruto continued, but the strain tore my soul apart. I lost my original consciousness. And when I died, Indra and Ashura both went into a dormant cycle without me to anchor them. Quote. Sakura absorbed the weight of his confession. So now, she said quietly, they're waking up without you ever finishing things with them. Naruto nodded once. Sakura squared her shoulders. Then let's finish it now. Properly. Together. Naruto looked at her, really looked. Her resolve didn't shake. Her eyes held no fear. Through every storm, every battle, every destructive truth, she was always next to him. Naruto felt a strange steadiness return to him, anchoring him against the ancient power swirling inside. But his moment of clarity vanished as a third surge ripped through the world. Naruto staggered. Sakura caught his arm. Another chakra signature. No, Naruto whispered. Not chakra. Something worse. Quote. A tear appeared in the sky, thin, dark, stretching slowly like a shadow splitting open. Not a portal. Not a technique. A wound. The Devourer's presence leaked through the tear like black mist, seeping across the high clouds. The sky dimmed unnaturally. The wind stopped. Even the sun seemed to flicker. Sakura whispered, "Naruto, what is that?" Naruto's voice trembled with something he rarely felt. Fear. It's the Devourer. It's pushing against its seal. It sensed Indra and Ashura awakening, and now it's accelerating its escape. Sakura tensed. How long until it breaks through? Naruto closed his eyes, reaching out with the primordial sense inside him. The seal was cracking. Fast. Too fast. Hours, he said. Maybe less. Sakura steadied him. Then you have to find Indra and Ashura before it tears free. Naruto looked at her urgently. But if they remember the past, if they still see each other as rivals, if they blame me. Sakura gripped his hand tightly. Then earn their trust again. Fix what your past couldn't. You're not that ancient child anymore. You're Naruto Uzumaki. And that means something. Naruto's chest tightened, and the third son's heartbeat pulsed in agreement. He took a deep breath. Okay, we head for the first signature. But before he could move, a voice echoed across the plain. So, you finally awaken, little brother. Naruto froze. Sakura whipped around. A figure stepped out of the rippling shadows beneath the distant tree, tall, commanding, cloaked in dark chakra. His eyes glowed with an evolved Sharingan Naruto had never seen before, older, deeper, more absolute than any Uchiha had ever wielded. Indra. Reborn. Not reincarnated. Recreated. Naruto's breath caught in his throat. Sakura whispered, "Naruto, he's real." Indra stepped forward, his aura cutting through the wind. "I have returned to finish what was interrupted ages ago." The cycle shifts once more. "And you?" His gaze sharpened, piercing Naruto. "You dare awaken before I judge you." Naruto felt the third son's power rising inside him in response. The past, the war, the unfinished destiny. All of it stood before him in flesh. Indra raised his hand slowly. "We settle our fate now." For a moment, even the wind refused to move. The air trembled with the weight of an ancient grudge, reborn after centuries of silence. Indra took another step forward, his presence bending the space around him. His chakra wasn't explosive or wild like modern shinobi. It was controlled, monumental, suffocating in its precision, like a blade that had been sharpened for 1,000 years and finally unsheathed. Naruto stood still, staring at the elder brother he had never truly met, yet somehow knew intimately through the memories buried in his soul. Sakura whispered, "Naruto, he looks like a perfected Uchiha." Quote. Naruto nodded once, slowly. Indra's eyes held something far beyond the Sharingan, an evolution untouched by time. Powers that no modern Uchiha could ever achieve. Indra's voice was calm, impossibly calm. "You wear his face, but you are not the one I once knew." "I'm not him," Naruto answered. "But I carry his soul. And his mistakes." Indra's eyes narrowed ever so slightly. "Mistakes. A gentle word for your betrayal, younger brother." Quote. Sakura tensed. She had expected hostility, but not this cold certainty. What betrayal? Naruto didn't. Indra didn't even look at her. Silence, mortal. Naruto stepped forward. "Don't talk to her like that." Quote. Indra's gaze flicked to Naruto again, sharper this time. "You defend them still. Weak beings who cling to emotion, blinded by hope. Ashura's followers. Always." Naruto clenched his teeth. "You don't get to insult the people I care about. Not now. Not ever." Indra exhaled slowly, as if disappointed. "You sound like him again. The foolish boy who chose sentiment over truth." Naruto stepped forward. "I chose peace." "Peace is an illusion," Indra replied. "Control is real. Order is real. Only power can define the world. You rejected that, and you paid the price." Naruto felt the memories tug at him, fragments of a past life echoing faintly. "I didn't betray you. I tried to stop you both from destroying each other." Indra's aura flared, the air cracking with invisible pressure. "Do not rewrite history before me. You sided with Ashura. You made your choice." Sakura stepped in front of Naruto now, surprising both of them. "If you want to punish someone for an argument that happened 1,000 years ago, fine. But don't drag this Naruto into a war he never asked for. Indra regarded her with mild curiosity. You stand boldly for a man who carries a god's burden. Why? Sakura didn't hesitate. Because I know him. Not his past self. Not your memory of him. This Naruto isn't your brother from long ago. He's the one who saved this world more times than you can imagine. Quote, Indra's expression didn't change, but for a flicker, his chakra shifted, almost like he was studying her resolve. Naruto put a hand on Sakura's shoulder, gently pulling her behind him. I'll deal with him. Quote, Indra tilted his head slightly. Ashura will awaken as well. He always does, once you appear. And then the world will suffer another cycle of conflict. Naruto shook his head. Not this time. I'm here now. The third son. The one who's supposed to stop that cycle. A slow, humorless smile touched Indra's lips. You believe you can change destiny. You could not then. You cannot now. Naruto spread his stance. Then let's find out. Indra's eyes glowed, the pattern spinning into a form Naruto had never seen, not Mangekyo, not Rinnegan, but something older. A primal ocular power. You challenge me. You, whose awakening has already shaken the world. Whose presence stirs the devourer. You dare face me with an unstable soul. I dare, Naruto said, because I won't let history repeat. Indra raised his hand, and the ground trembled. A field of ancient chakra symbols spread beneath his feet, forming a circle, then a seal, then something deeper, an echo of forgotten arts. You have power, little brother. But do you have conviction? Naruto's eyes hardened. I have both. And I have something you never did. Indra waited, silent. Naruto's voice was steady. I'm not fighting to win over you. I'm fighting to save everyone. Indra's aura exploded outward, shaking the entire forest. Then come, show me if you can save even yourself. Naruto didn't hesitate. He launched forward, but Indra was faster. In a single movement, silent, perfect, Indra vanished and materialized right in front of Naruto. Naruto barely saw a flicker before a strike collided with his chest, sending him flying backwards through several trees. The shockwave uprooted entire sections of forest. Sakura screamed his name, running toward the crater where he landed. Naruto pushed himself up, coughing blood. Damn, he's fast. Indra stood unmoving, watching him rise. Your body is overflowing with power you do not yet control. You will collapse before you reach me. Naruto wiped his mouth, not planning on collapsing. He dashed again, faster, sharper, forcing his legs to respond. He threw a punch, but Indra effortlessly sidestepped, catching Naruto's wrist and redirecting him into the ground with surgical precision. Naruto hit the ground so hard the earth cracked. Indra spoke as if lecturing a child. You rely on instinct, emotion, chaos, Ashura's ways. Naruto laughed weakly, forcing himself upright. And you rely on ego. Indra's eyes shimmered. Ego is the foundation of identity. Naruto charged again, this time flickering with the golden outline of the third sun's chakra. Not Kurama's, not Sage Mode, something older. He struck. Indra's expression shifted for the first time, only slightly, but Naruto saw the recognition. That chakra, so it truly returned. Naruto pressed forward with a massive burst of primordial light, shaking the clearing. Indra stepped back, raising a defensive barrier as Naruto's raw, ancient chakra collided with him. The impact created a shockwave that split the earth for meters. Naruto was panting, sweat dripping, but Indra finally braced. So, Indra said quietly, you have inherited the third power again. Naruto straightened. And I'm not done yet. Indra slowly lowered his guard. No, you are not. But then he said something unexpected. And neither is Ashura. A second presence cut through the battlefield like a warm breeze breaking a storm. Naruto and Sakura both turned. A figure approached from the opposite direction, glowing faintly with a gentle, earth-like chakra. His expression carried a tired kindness, but beneath it, a resolve as strong as stone. Ashura had awakened, and he was watching the two of them with deep, ancient sorrow. Naruto breathed the name softly. Ashura. The eldest and youngest brothers stood across from each other for the first time in 1,000 years. Indra, calm and deadly. Ashura, heavy with emotion. Naruto stood between them. The past had returned. The brothers were whole again. And the world trembled. The night deepened around Naruto as he stared into the dying fire. Sparks floated upward like fragments of forgotten memories, and the wind carried the faint echo of a world that once belonged to him. A world he no longer recognized. A world that no longer recognized him. It was strange, he thought, how destiny could be rewritten without a single stroke of ink. Just a whisper of power. Just a shift of birth. Just one truth buried beneath centuries. He was not merely the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. He was not only the child of Minato and Kushina. He was not defined by Konoha, by Team 7, by the legacy of the Yellow Flash or the Uzumaki clan. He was something older, something deeper, something the world had forgotten to fear. He was the third son of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, a remnant of the sage's own soul, born again in mortal flesh. A being shaped not only by love and tragedy but also divine fragments of creation itself. As the fire's glow softened, Naruto felt the air shifting. The forest grew unnaturally silent. Even the leaves seemed to hesitate in their fall, suspended by a force that did not belong to nature. A ripple appeared in front of him, the fabric of reality trembling like disturbed water. The glow was pale, soft, almost sorrowful. And then the figure manifested. Hagoromo Otsutsuki stepped forward, his presence filling the clearing like the weight of time itself. Naruto rose slowly, muscles tense but heart strangely calm. He had spoken to the sage many times before, but this was different. This was not the spirit he encountered during the war. This was not a memory. This was an echo of something more primeval, more connected to the truth of his birth. "Why are you here?" Naruto asked, though deep down he felt he already knew. Hagoromo studied him with eyes that carried ages of burden. "The world has begun to react," he said quietly. "Your awakening has not gone unnoticed." Quote, Naruto's fists tightened. He thought about the strange visions, the sudden surge of power, the way nature itself bent around him as if greeting a long-lost master. These powers, this connection, you knew it would happen. Quote, "I hoped it would not," the sage replied. There was no anger in his voice, only resignation. "You were reborn with the piece of my soul I was never meant to pass down. A fragment containing the potential to shape or destroy entire eras. A fragment that neither Asura nor Indra carried. A fragment I had intended to erase." Erase. Naruto took a step forward. "You wanted to erase me before I was even born." Hagoromo closed his eyes. "I wished to erase the power, not the life. But fate is not so easily rewritten. Your existence became the vessel for what I could not destroy. And now, that fragment is waking." Naruto felt the ground beneath him pulse. The forest seemed to bow inwards, shadows deepening around him, as if reacting to the truth itself. "And what does that mean for me?" Naruto's voice was low, controlled. He needed answers, not comfort. "It means the world will soon sense a storm brewing. The other dimensions will feel the tremor of your awakening. The remains of Kaguya's influence will not ignore it. And neither will the beings beyond her." Naruto looked away, jaw tight. "I didn't ask for this. No child born into destiny ever does," Hagoromo said. For a long moment, neither spoke. The fire finally died, leaving only charred wood smoldering faintly. The wind moved again, as if life was returning to the forest. At last, Naruto lifted his head. His sapphire eyes were steady, burning with determination, the same light he'd always carried, even before knowing his origins. "What happens next?" Hagoromo regarded him with a quiet sadness. "You must decide what your existence will mean. You stand at the threshold between mortals and gods. You will either become the bridge that unites both worlds, or the force that tears them apart." Quote, Naruto inhaled slowly. His heartbeat was steady, but something ancient throbbed beneath it, resonating with the earth, the air, the unseen forces around him. "So you're telling me the future depends on whether I can control this power?" Quote, "No," Hagoromo answered. "It depends on whether this power can accept you." Naruto stiffened. "What is that supposed to mean?" "The fragment inside you has a will of its own. It existed long before your current life. If it awakens completely before you are ready, even your consciousness may not remain your own." Naruto stared at him, the truth cold and sharp. "So I'm fighting myself now." You are fighting what you were, Hagoromo corrected. Not what you are. Then, the sage stepped forward, placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Part 1 of your story ends here. The path you walk from this moment will determine the fate of more than just the shinobi world. Quote, Naruto did not flinch. He met Hagoromo's gaze with unwavering resolve. Then I'll walk it, he said. No matter how long, no matter how hard. The forest trembled once, a deep pulse of acknowledgement. The sage's form began fading, his voice growing distant. Prepare yourself. The power within you has begun to stir. Soon, it will test you. And when it does, you must not waver. The wind surged, and Hagoromo vanished into glimmering dust. Naruto stood alone in the silent clearing. Not as the child of prophecy. Not as a reincarnation, but as the forgotten third son of the Sage of Six Paths, reborn into a world unprepared for his existence. He took a breath, steady and deep, as the final ember of the fire cracked softly. Part 1 ends with Naruto lifting his head toward the sky, unaware that far beyond the stars, ancient eyes had already begun turning toward him. The world would soon change. And so would he. Thank you.